and ran into one of my friends, who was actually one of my brother's high school teachers. And he's growing now. I think he's kind of pushing the boundary, though, on the 6-plant limit for personal. Because he's showing me.
I thought you meant he was getting larger.
No, he's growing.
I see.
He's growing the wacky tobacco. So he gave me enough for 2 joints, and I smoked half a joint last night. And I was gonna smoke some more, and then I got out of work, and then I got here, and I was like, I don't want to be high. I don't want to be high on the.
This is a kids show. You don't want to be high.
You don't. Although I heard Fran on Kukla, Fran and Ollie always tripping on acid. Every episode, tripping on acid.
I'm sure.
It's true.
Of course.
The underbelly of children's television.
Howdy Doody. I mean, I don't know what he was on.
Oh, peyote. Or maybe mescaline. He really wasn't a marionette on a string. He was actually a live human. Just when he was tripping, his arms and legs would just go that way.
They've just put a mask on him. He's a young kid.
They said, why can't he stop doing that with his arms and legs? Let's just say he's a marionette.
Yeah, that's the...
He's tripping on mescaline. Just say he's a marionette.
That was the early episodes, right?
Very, very
First
early.
Year, it was a real human.
He was a real human.
It's the SETI Bumko Show with your hosts, Tim and John.
This week is much like last week in that I wish I was doing something else.
Yeah, it's the SETI Bumko Show, the show where we look back at the travesties and humor of high school and movies of questionable taste.
Oh, and I did want to let you know, the woman who runs the shop that sells the crystals and the tarot cards, who smells like patchouli oil and doesn't shave her armpits.
You had them over to your house last week.
They're still here. They haven't left.
They're still here.
My landlord is going to be so mad at me with this water bill. The mentally challenged girl who puts the whole chickens on the rotisseries to get the roasted chickens at Walmart in the deli, and the homeless guy who goes rummaging through our dumpster to find deposit bottles.
Okay.
We think we may have a breakthrough tonight, though, Tim, because this is the week of Mr. Norman Lear's 100th birthday, and hopefully, I'm not making any promises, but maybe we will break through to the spirit of Miss Beatrice Arthur, aka Maud.
I think you're just going to end up with with Lucy.
She'll be wishing Mr. Norman Lear 100th birthday. I can feel it. I think tonight's the night.
Who's the woman that played Ethel?
Vivian Vance.
I think they're going to end up getting Vivian Vance.
You think?
She was known to show up for any unwanted party.
Yeah.
Vivian Vance will just show up.
Vivian Vance will show up to the opening of an envelope.
If you see the Oscars in the 70s, she's always in the front row. She's got like an extra chair. She's squeezed into a table, but she doesn't have a plate.
Yeah, exactly. How the hell did Viv Vance get in the front row again this year?
Anyway, I don't know why I'm picking on Vivian.
Poor Vivian.
Did you have any thoughts this week besides making fun of Vivian Vance?
No, yeah. No, I'm so excited about this. I really think we're going to have that breakthrough today with B. Arthur on the Ouija board tonight. Very excited. Maybe she'll actually tell us now she's in the afterlife, she doesn't really care. Maybe she'll actually tell us what she actually thought of Mr. Norman Lear.
She liked him. Come on.
I hope so. You never know. You never know what's going to come out.
Well, my week was, I won't go into the whole story, but there's an apartment. It's not my apartment. We're moving some furniture out of. Mm-hmm. It involved a 7-foot-long metal table that weighed, 4,000 pounds.
Ooh, that's what we call the Widowmaker.
It was hot. The Widowmaker. We do call it the Widowmaker. But I used TaskRabbit for the first time. Mm-hmm. Sorry. And because we had a couch to get rid of it. No one wants a couch. No one wants the chance of bed bugs. We don't want to look at those stains. We don't know where the stains came from.
I understand. Yeah.
You just got to call a guy to make your couch disappear quietly.
And don't ask questions. And don't ask questions. Don't ask questions. Just give me
questions about those stains.
Just give me the cash in an envelope. You'll never see this couch again. Don't ask any questions.
Do not do any DNA tests on the couch. Just make it disappear. Take it to Lake Mead.
One day you're riding along on the Staten Island Ferry and boom, you hit something. It's like, did we hit a whale? No, it's a very badly stained couch.
So I helped this TaskRabbit guy in a van. I helped him take it down the steps. Mm-hmm. And so I want to say he's an African-American man or black man. I some people prefer either term, but I'm just saying this is part of the story. Gave him 5 stars, great guy. And what I do since COVID, I'm not a germaphobe, but I fist bump with everybody. I'm like, I'd rather fist bump. I don't want to have wipe germs. I'd rather do that. I don't want to wipe your germs on my hand.
Right.
But so when I said goodbye to him and I said thanks and everything, I saw his hand come up to shake, but I put my hand in a fist to do fists. And like by the time we were heading for each other, I'm like, he's putting his hand in a fist too. And I fist bumped him, and just out of I was like, yeah, fist bump for germs. Because in my mind, I thought he probably just thinks I'm some asshole trying to be cool.
Yeah.
Just because he's a black man, I'm doing this. But I was like, no, for germs. I do it with everybody.
For germs. I don't think I'm black. I'm not trying to be black. I'm not trying to be cool. I'm not trying to be hip. I don't think this is what you do all the time. I'm not that racist.
I know he thought that when he walked away because there's no way to explain it. I just had a nervous tick. I was just like, for the germs. For the germs.
Now, if only you had no
I ran down the street. He was driving away, and I ran down the street.
You still explain,
for the germs.
Really, it's for the germs. I'm not a racist. I don't think that's how you. I really feel bad about just for germs. Really.
I gave him 10 stars. You can only give 5, but I went on there and gave him 10 stars.
I found a way to give 10. That sounds like something Maud would do, because Maud was always trying to overcompensate for Florida.
Yes, exactly.
That's like exactly something that Maud would do. I mean, Maud wanted to go. Maud wanted to go out the back door because it was easier for her to get. And Maud would insist she'd go out the front door and add 5 minutes because she'd have to go back around the back.
Oh boy! So anyway, we should get to this movie.
Let's get to this movie.
Unless you have more to say. Do you want to get to the movie?
I have no more to say.
So you pick this movie. I'll let you start.
I have
a lot to say.
I picked the movie, and the name of the movie is Mayday at 40,000 Feet. It's a 1976 made-for-television drama film directed by Robert Butler, who directed
the Star Trek pilot.
Is that really? Oh my gosh, Tim, how did I miss that?
Yeah, I did my research.
I did not know.
I see Star Trek in Wikipedia. I hone right in. I'm like, what? What's happened with Star Trek?
What's happened with Star Trek? Is there another spin-off?
What was happening in 1972 with Star Trek? And,
is there a 27th series on Paramount Network?
Yeah, there will be.
Or Paramount Plus, not Paramount Network. Anyway, Robert Butler was one of the premium directors of series TV through 4 decades, although he also became a specialist in one-off television and film features. Mayday, I'm just going to kind of get into this. It's not really a synopsis because some of these things, there's really no plot, and if I give you the synopsis, it's like we really don't even need to discuss the movie because it's we
can tell people.
There it is.
It's a soap opera. People get on the plane. Something breaks on the plane. There's drama with the soap opera people, and they land the plane. Maybe somebody dies. Maybe somebody gets drunk.
All right.
Maybe
Tim,
somebody has rude sexual comments.
I'll see you next week. Do we have a guest?
I'm just telling the people.
Yeah, the people.
Telling the people.
The people.
What it's about.
The people.
I call it terror at 1,000 feet.
Is it 1,000?
Can I do that?
You don't have to go to 40. You don't have to go to 40,000 feet to be terrified of this movie. Just go to that.
Do not.
Just get in a hot air balloon. You'll be terrified enough about this movie. Anyway, it is It is A Mayday at 40,000 Feet was an example of the 1970s disaster film. Do you remember the 1970s like Earthquake in Sense-Around? And there was the
There's at least 5 of these airport movies.
There was Airport,
and The Terror,
and there was Airport 75, and there was Airport 77, and then there was my personal favorite, Airport 79, the Concorde.
Yeah,
but
they flew into space, right?
You know, we joke about the original Airport, but the original Airport was actually an Academy Award-winning film. Miss Helen Hayes won for Best Supporting Actress for that movie.
Well, there was a lot of cocaine back then, John.
There was a lot of cocaine, and everybody knows who was the biggest cokehead in the late 60s, early 70s? Miss Helen Hayes. Miss Helen Hayes. Her and Vivian Vance were partying. And Vivian would be coked out of her mind. And they'd be like, what is Vivian Vance just sitting in the front row again this year? Don't we have her pictures circulated to security? Stop letting her in. Look at her. She's been with that Helen Hayes again, hasn't she? That was a common phrase at those Hollywood parties. Don't give Vivian any cocaine. Don't give hunt her down. She'll be at some other party. Just ask Lucy. Do not give Vivian any cocaine. You know what? Who cares? Who cares at this point? But remember, Earthquake was in Sense-Around. I mentioned that already? Sense-Around. You mentioned that. I think I mentioned that already. Like Sense-Around was like this sound system in the movie theaters. And I think Roller Coaster was in Sense-Around too. There was a disaster. I think that was in Sense-Around too. And it was only like in like 4 or 5 films that I know of. And then suddenly you never heard about Sense-Around again. I think Love Story was in Sense-Around, right? Love Story was in Sense-Around. I think so. Although one of the people in this film played Ryan O'Neal's father in Love Story. Oh. Which one? Funny you should mention that. You're going to tell me later? Ray Milan, the guy who played the alcoholic doctor. Academy Award winner Ray Milan. He played Oliver. Was it Oliver? Ryan O'Neal was like Oliver the third or fourth, and he was like Oliver Jr. or the third or whatever. Yeah, he played Ryan O'Neal's father in Love Story. It's so funny you would say that. But yes, Love Story wasn't Sense-Around. It was that really Cornell? Let's not talk about that. Was that really Cornell that they filmed? I don't think that was really Cornell where they filmed the opening scene of Love Story. I don't know. Anyway, I'm not sure. I don't think so. It might have been. I do want to also to set this up for viewers. The airline in this movie is Transcom. And Transcom had many subsidiaries such as Transcom Roller Skates, Transcom Amway products, and Transcom Pet Stones. They were trying to compete with the Pet Rock. And they called them Pet Stones. Pet Stones. Like you lived in an apartment and didn't have room for a Pet Rock, you could just have a Pet Stone. Pet Stone. Exactly. It was great for like if you had like a studio or even a 1-bedroom and you get that big Pet Rock and it takes up so much room. It's not fair to keep the Pet Rock cooped up in that apartment all day. So yeah, you get a Pet Stone, much small. It's like the Chihuahua of Pet Rocks. It is very small. You can walk around with it in your purse. Yeah. And before you go on, I'm a chatty person. You're a chatty Cathy today. I apologize. But before you go on, I wanted to point out, John, and you know how your asshole boss would say to you, now don't complain unless you're going to bring a solution. You know that old saying? I know that. So I am going to complain, but I'm going to bring a solution, John, that this movie, there's no high schools, no teenagers, no teachers, no camping with teenagers. There's no connection to teenage drama, but I realize Transcom also owns Transcom gym class supplies and Transcom high school cafeteria supplies. That's the connection to high school for this movie. They supplied us with all those ropes we could never climb. Right? Remember? And the soy burgers. Yeah, and then those ropes. Soylent Green is people! Spoiler alert, Soylent Green is people. But anyway. Yes. But I just picked it because it was a movie from my childhood. I do actually remember watching this on television. Oh, I know. That's all. I mean, What did Exorcist
to?
What did Exorcist to the Heretic? What did Exorcist to the Heretic have to do with high school?
Had a teenage girl.
Maybe Catholic school, but not high school.
Maybe.
So shall we get into the film now? Film.
Yeah.
I just enjoy the art of Robert. Although I guess I can't make fun of Robert Butler now that he directed the pilot of Star Trek. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he did a lot of. He did Dick Van Dyke. I'm sure you read all the shows he did.
Yeah, I did. I guess I just must have overlooked, because there's a lot of people. Because after all, and if we could have a little reverb, this is an all-star cast. So there are a lot of people. Wait, I don't know. Can we get a little more
Oscar winner?
Could we get a little more reverb in that? An all-star cast. Okay, I like that. That's much better. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll do that.
Actually, there are 2 Academy Award winners in this. There's Ray Milland, who won the Academy Award in 1945, Best Actor for The Lost Weekend, where he played an alcoholic.
I know.
And then Broderick Crawford, who won the Academy Award, I believe it was 1948 or 49, for All the King's Men.
Right.
Another Oscar winner from that was Mercedes McCambridge. She won Best Supporting Actress for that film. She wound up doing the voice when Linda Blair got possessed in The Exorcist.
Oh. Mm-hmm. Okay. Did not know that.
Well, actually, and they didn't credit her in the film initially, and so she had to get the Screen Actors Guild to threaten to litigate, and then they gave her credit. But that has nothing to do with Mayday at 40,000 feet.
That's more interesting than the movie.
It is more interesting than the movie, and I may be. Oh, wait a second. Wait, I think I got an update on the Ouija board. Wait, hold up, Tim. Hold up. What? No. B. Arthur did not do Petticoat Junction. No, that's not B. Arthur. No, that's B. Benaderet. No, I don't want to talk to B, but no, I don't want to talk to. No, I'm sure she sounds like a very. No, B. Arthur. Oh, okay. Just let me know. They didn't get B. Arthur.
I can see that.
Okay, so.
Are you going to go through all the B names? Who else is coming? Yes, anyways. This starts off with the airplane and Mr. Janssen.
Lots of jets landing and taking off. And Mr. David Janssen, who played Dr. Richard Kimball
in The Fugitive.
In The Fugitive, the TV series that inspired the Harrison Ford, Tommy Lee Jones movie. And I still believe that final episode...
And let me tell...
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to say, I still
You're going to say the final episode is the most watched?
Well, it was the most watched, but it's no longer. I don't know if Who Shot JR overtook it. I know the finale of MASH overtook it.
And then
I want to say Who Shot JR, and then Vivian Vance goes to rehab for coke on Here's Lucy.
I think so.
That was the number 3 one. That got a lot of viewers. That was what they call, they call them those very special episodes. Did Vivian get nominated?
In fact, the whole episode, they're like, "Where's Vivian?
Where's Vivian?
Where'd she go?
Who gave
her cocaine?
Who gave Viv the coke?" And of course, Desi Arnaz Jr. was on that and they're like, and then he got in trouble, and just it was a wacky episode.
But John, I'm going to share with the audience that I was doing research on Mr. Janssen, and I typed his name in, and I swear to God, and I sent this to you, the first picture I get is him naked getting a massage, laying on his stomach.
I saw that.
And I'm like, why is this the first image of him just pop up?
I don't know.
Anyway.
I don't know, but
don't say it's because of my search engines. You know the embarrassing thing I watch?
What's that?
I watched model trains, model railroads that are really elaborate.
Oh, well, everybody knows model trains are just the front for pornography.
Yeah, it's a gateway.
You want to go watch model trains? Mm-hmm.
It's a gateway drug.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, but I thought, I looked at his face, I didn't realize how much David Janssen looked like my dad. Because when I first saw that picture, I was like, where'd you get a picture of my father? And then I enlarged it, and it was like, oh, well, that's not my dad.
You enlarged it and went, whoa.
But I didn't see the bare ass. I just saw the face initially, and I was like, what is my dad? Tim, where'd you get a picture of my dad? And then it was like, oh, that's not my dad.
Yeah, because he's pretty old there. It's bad enough that last time we watched a movie, we had to see an old 35-year-old woman naked.
Oh, so. That elderly.
Mr. Janssen was like 50 years old, I think. In that
I don't think he made it to 50. He died,
he died
of a heart attack very young.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, I think it was just like 3 or 4 years after he did Mayhem at 40,000 feet.
Yeah. But he's sad in this movie because his wife is getting a lump checked. That's part of our drama.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Nobody in the 70s can talk about cancer. He's like, it's something with the woman's chest. He's saying that to the woman, like, you wouldn't understand. It's something with the woman's chest. She's got it checked out.
Yeah, and he's all like despondent over it. I mean, screw like the guy with the gun, and screw like the hydraulics. Getting out of what. I mean, he didn't like. Hey, you're supposed to be at 37,000. You're at 27,000, and he's just like despondent, just like staring off into space, thinking about his wife.
Yes. Well, that's right. You're talking about he was flying at 28,000.
Yeah. And I was like, ooh, this can't be good. Somebody just take the control. Somebody should have just said, you know what, go sit in the back.
What was his name in the movie? Do you remember?
What was his name in the movie? It was, Captain Pete Douglas.
I'm just going to call him
Captain Pete Douglas.
Yeah. Pete was flying at 29,000 feet. And the other guy's like, Pete, the name of the movie is 40,000 feet.
Mayhem at 40,000 feet.
Get us higher.
We can't charge the sponsors as much for Mayhem at 29,000 feet. It has to be the full 40. Coca-Cola is not going to cough up that money, Pete.
No.
It's got to be the full 40,000 feet. Come on, snap out of this.
Coca-Cola, I think it was Coors Light again.
Oh, I don't know. You're just never going to. You're never going to forgive me for that, are you? You are never going to forgive me for that.
So there's a very, not to be mean, overweight air marshal.
Mr. Roger Crawford.
Up a guy.
Academy Award winner, Roger Crawford.
I didn't look him up. I got distracted with everything else.
Yes.
But he's got a gun. He's going to pick up a fugitive. Not a fugitive. He's just a prisoner.
He's a prisoner. Murder.
And they give us some foreshadowing because he's like, I don't feel so good. I ate 2 bowls of chili for dinner. That's Transcom. Get one bowl of chili, get the next one free. So
that was their motto.
I don't know what he was thinking.
That was their motto.
He ate all the bread they brought him. He had like 3 martinis, some pickles, and dessert, and 3 cigarettes. And he's like, I don't feel so good.
I don't feel so hot. And Vivian,
I don't know what's going on.
And Vivian Vance offered him a couple lines of Coke. And he was just like,
and I ran into Vivian Vance.
She didn't lock the door to Occupado. And I barged in, and she said, Broderick, have a toot.
And when the pilots are like, he's like, I'm the marshal. He goes, you got a gun? And he just brings out that gun. Like, yep, got a gun. Waves it around.
Like, yep, right here. Got it right here. Got my gun.
So that's pretty much the setup. Oh, and the pilot met an old flame.
An old flame, yes.
He went to the dingy hotel room. Yeah, what?
Yeah, they used to live together.
Right.
And she just happened to sit at the bar. I think she's getting ready to leave for New York. And he's like, I noticed, your wedding ring or lack of one. And so it's like, they live together. I don't know. They haven't seen each other for 6 or 7 years. And she got married and she's just gone through a divorce. And he's like, well, why don't we fly to New York together? And she comes up to his hotel room, like you do.
Putting quarters in that vibrating bed.
Exactly. And they spend the night together. And then the next day he asked her to marry her. And she says yes. Because what could possibly go wrong? We haven't seen each other in 6 weeks. We haven't seen each other in 6 years. I've been through a divorce. You've advanced in your career as a pilot. We spend one night in a hotel room. Yes, I will marry you.
Wow, and she was like, and you overcame your fear of quarters because you can put quarters in the vibrating bed in this dingy hotel room.
Well, that came about his. See, and this is. I think this was on the cutting room floor. This is part of the character development I found. A little known fact about the character. His fear of the vibrating bed came when he didn't realize he had a Canadian quarter And he put the Canadian quarter in, and just as the thing started bucking like a mechanical bull, several people
don't want that communist money in my machine.
Several people were injured, and so he's like, "Oh, never again will I put quarters in one of those beds again." Several
stewardesses.
Several stewardesses were
because the men in this movie, again, if you didn't live in the 70s, the men in this movie,
pigs.
It was all like
sexist pigs. You can say it.
Yeah, but every woman they see, they're like, speaking of air brakes, check out her air brakes.
Check out her air brakes.
Speaking of landing gear, check out her landing gear. Speaking of nice personalities, check out her knockers. It was just constant. So anyway,
and then there's like a little confusion here because, well, not confusion, but the guy who played Stan, Christopher George, who was going to. I can't say this with a straight face. He was going to marry the woman he hadn't seen in 7 years after one night in the airport hotel room. He was actually married to Linda Day George, who played the stewardess with the long blonde hair.
Oh, okay.
What was her name?
Stewardess 2, John.
Stewardess 2. What the heck was her name? Linda Day George as Kathy. No, I wouldn't have gotten that.
One stewardess gets shot. One stewardess is the voice of reason, and the other stewardess is like, "I quit. I'm out of here."
Yeah, the one that wound up doing Trapper John, MD. Remember, she played the nurse on Trapper. Did you ever watch Trapper John, MD? Little known fact.
No, I didn't love it.
No, well, it was something that I would, my parents would watch it, and I'd be like, all right.
Yeah.
But no, little known fact, I didn't realize this, doing the research today. Actually, Pernell Roberts, who played Trapper John in Trapper John, MD, that show was on the air for 7 seasons. So he actually played the role twice as long as Wayne Rogers did on MASH.
Got it.
I
think I did see this show. Is he the one who lived in a trailer?
Gonzo Gates. Yes. Gregory Harrison.
So was he supposed to be the character from MASH?
No.
But suddenly he was in the 70s.
The older gentleman. Pernell Roberts, who was one of Lauren Green's sons on Bonanza. The older gentleman was Trapper John. He was like the young, up-and-coming doctor, surgeon, whatever he was supposed to be. I don't know if he was an intern or a resident or what he was, but he was like, the hot young.
Yes. And one of my teachers in school was always like, ooh, gotta watch that tonight.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so
what was the name of the guy who ate 2 bowls of chili and all the bread and the pickles?
That would be Marshall Sam Reese.
Yes.
Marshall Sam Reese, played by Academy Award winner Broderick Crawford.
Did you ever eat at a Ponderosa, John?
Yes, I did. Have you ever? Remember what the tagline used to be? Get that Ponderosa feeling. You ever have that Ponderosa feeling, Tim? It's not pleasant.
I'm going to tell you the last time I went, because I had a friend.
Does it involve?
I had a friend who couldn't get out much.
What?
And he was like, "Can you please take me to Ponderosa?" And there was another friend who would take him out. One day, the other friend took us both. He's like, "I want to go to Ponderosa. All you can eat." He had some issues, but so we take him.
Issues with Ponderosa or just issues in general?
Issues in general.
Oh, okay.
And I'm getting those fries that are under the heat lamp, right next to the pudding under the heat lamp. And
Tim, I know
going back to that.
I know your history with deep fried potato products. I think I know how this story's going to end. There were the tater tots in high school that we discussed with. Okay, go ahead.
I was just walking back to my table, and there was a family and there was a child, and he had his bowl to go get all he could eat, but he was sitting at the table vomiting into his bowl at the table. That's all. That's all my story is. And I was just like, okay, we're going home. I'm not eating here anymore.
I mean, that is just like American gluttony in a nutshell. And the parents were probably like patting him on the back, going, "Do you want to go up and get more? Go on, it's all you can eat." I think I
said to my friend,
"It's all you can eat."
Did you see
it? Go on up. Go on back up.
I think my friend, I was like, did I dream that? Do you see? He's like, "Oh, the kid vomiting?" Yep. And he just kept eating. Yep. Anyway.
What does any of this have to do with
derailing the story?
What is it? Well, you know what? I think actually this conversation, again,
the cafeteria scene.
The cat, yes. The cat. Well, the two bowls of chili. Only have one bowl of chili. Especially if you're an air marshal having to transport a shackled. And what about Broderick Crawford as the marshal? They were in L.A. the whole time. He never took off that overcoat and the scarf and the hat.
No.
I get that you would
wear. It was a snowstorm.
Well, I get you would wear it because you were heading to Salt Lake City, and I believe eventually New York. But the whole time he was in L.A., he never took off. I'm like, he must have been really, really hot. That could have been part of his problem too. As somebody who did succumb to heat exhaustion last week, I can speak firsthand of this, Tim. And if you cannot self-administer an IV to hydrate yourself, that's all I'm saying.
You don't want to fall asleep in your neighborhood. You might wake up with your kidney missing.
Exactly.
So they all get on the plane. There's a snowstorm. Mm-hmm. The plot was a little bit Pete wants to get home to see his wife because she's suddenly going to have surgery. I didn't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they moved it 2 days or something. The doctor had a cancellation and let's go in and take care of it now. So he's just in a fog. He's just in a fog the whole movie. He doesn't know what's going on. He could have killed them all before the serial killer or the murderer or whoever the hell he was. Oh, but before we get on, don't forget that they were transporting him from the... Okay, oh, wait, no. Okay, I'm jumping ahead of myself. So they've gotten on the plane in L.A. They're heading to Salt Lake City. Okay, I know I'm jumping ahead of myself. I'm sorry. And this is where we see...
I'm not worried about the plot, John.
Yeah, I know.
He does try to escape once. Is that what you want to back up to?
Yeah, but that's but I'm backing up when it's actually forward. So, but this is where we do meet Academy Award winner Ray Milland as Dr. Joseph Mannheim. And we never find out exactly what it was because the
I'll get to that, John.
Okay. Susan.
Yeah, we don't know what he did wrong.
We don't know what he did wrong. All he says something about helping somebody in a car in California, and they should have just let him die. Now malpractice suit, and he's give me another scotch.
He's playing the same character as he did in
the Lost Weekend. Yes, exactly. They're like, who can we get?
Thought he could grab another Oscar that easy.
Yeah, but then he realized it. Well, see, and that's how they got him. It's going to be a theatrical film. Did you see how Miss Helen Hayes won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress for Airport?
Right.
You too could win the Academy Award for Best Supporting. See, they told him it was a theatrical film.
Yep.
And then of course, and then he. And Helen Hayes and Vivian Vance were sitting around doing lines of coke one night, and they're like, "Yeah, do it, Ray, do it, play it."
Yes. That they probably played some drinking game, and he lost. He's like, "I got to do it."
Yeah, there you go.
Could have been Vivian Vance in that role.
Keep Viv away from the coke. Everybody knew that. Everybody knew that at Desi Low. Before we move on, we're going to get so many letters from Vivian Vance fans.
Let's bring in the fans.
If I'm getting such hate mail about the kid from Teen Witch, JJM, I can imagine the mail I'm going to get now.
And mixing up your amphibians.
And mixing up my amphibians.
Oh, no, George, friend of the show, George O'Connor, he's a big fan of Vivian Vance. So
New York Times bestseller.
I just realized.
No, you cannot just say George O'Connor.
You're in for it, John.
You have to say the whole... No, you cannot just say George O'Connor. It is New York Times bestselling author George O'Connor. Bestseller. Okay. And friend of the show.
I know. And friend of the show. Before I forget, John.
Uh-huh.
Am I talking too much? I like for you to talk.
No, I'm always afraid I'm talking too much. But we're not even to Salt Lake City. We're not even to Salt Lake City yet, Tim. We're like 37 minutes into this. There's going to be an off. And I've noticed on our past episodes, for some reason we put like 2 or 3 extra syllables in editing.
Yes.
Editing. So this is going to be a lot of editing.
It is. Maybe I'll skip this. I don't know. I can't remember what I wrote, John. I can't remember what I wrote, but I did my little thing.
So let's get to let's get to Salt Lake City.
Okay, let's get to Salt Lake
City. Let's just get to Salt Lake City. So,
I'm still going to do it.
Oh, go ahead, do it. Go. You want to do it? Go do it.
No, but we can get to Salt Lake City.
Okay, they get to Salt Lake City, which is where they got to pick up Greco, who is accused of, I think it's murder 2, I think they say. And
he tried to escape.
Yeah, and he tries to escape from the two officers trying to get him out. And Pete, the captain, is like, we're just going to refuel. We're going to get out of here immediately. And the guy at the desk is like, well, the snow's coming. And I know. He's like, listen, I told you, we're getting out of here now. You call whoever you've got to call. So they get, that worked.
Yes.
That
you
worked.
Call the snow gods.
Yeah, so they get Greco on the plane after he tried to take out the two officers transporting him from the I guess it was the jail. And so they've got him all shackled. And Ray Milan's still asking for scotch.
It's Transcom scotch.
Yes.
Trademark. Transcom Airlines.
There's a woman with a baby. Oh, and don't forget Terry, the stewardess. And they call them stewardesses. As a matter of fact, he calls them, because, today you couldn't call them stewardess. They'd be like, that's flight attendant. But Ray Milan says, waitress. I want another scotch. And Linda Day George comes up to him and says, the correct term is stewardess. How the times have changed. And so he's just still drinking his scotch. Okay, so
I want my scotch and soda, otherwise known as a Vivian Vance.
Vivian Vance with a Coke chasing, and then and keep Viv away from the Coke. But anyway, how's it going in there with the Ouija board?
God.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You're gonna have to. I'm sorry. If you come, it's been a week, guys. If you can't get up with her this week, well, who? Bill? No, we don't want Walter. Okay, great, fantastic. Yeah, fine.
Okay, I'm going to jump in here, John. I'll do it quick.
Please do.
I don't have a name for this. Still, it's
okay.
Since the man who directed the Star Trek pilot also directed this.
Okay.
No, I mean, he directed Dick Van Dyke, and he directed this movie. So I'll do this quick.
Okay.
The ways that this movie and the Dick Van Dyke Show are alike.
Ooh, this ought to be good. You're not going to trash Rose. You're not going to trash Rosemary, though, are you? Because I can't. Nope. I will not tolerate any trashing of Rosemary. Okay.
No. So the ways that the Dick Van Dyke Show and this movie are alike. So number one, an episode of the Dick Van Dyke Show was about half an hour, and Mayday at 40,000 feet took about a half hour to write. Neither Mayday at 40,000 feet or the Dick Van Dyke Show featured an accurate portrayal of David Janssen. That's number two. Number three, I'm adding some canned laughter. Number three, there's always an alcoholic in airplane movies, and Dick Van Dyke. There's always an alcoholic in airplane movies, and the Dick Van Dyke Show was sponsored by Transcom brand scotch.
I thought you were gonna make fun of poor Dick Van Dyke's alcoholism.
That's what I wrote, and then I rewrote it.
Then you thought
too easy.
I mean,
it's just like the Vivian Vance joke.
Vivian Vance and the cocaine is hilarious. But Dick Van Dyke and alcohol, nothing. We can't go there.
All right. So the guys on the plane, where are we? The criminals on board.
Broderick Crawford has gotten some. This is the story at the pharmacy in L.A. They give him these like little. I don't know. They were like, what were they? Orange or pink? And they were like some little pills.
They said he couldn't give him codeine, but this is good.
Right. This is the most powerful thing I can give you without a prescription. Hey, buddy, you give me. Well, I'll get checked by a doctor when I. And lo and behold, Broderick Crawford has a heart attack and dies.
Yes. Well, he ordered 2 more bowls of chili. You forgot that on the plane.
And I want 3 loaves of bread this time and extra butter.
Get one. Yes.
And
Transcom brand chili.
Yeah. And then lo and behold, he has a heart attack, dies. Greco, the prisoner, pulls the gun out of because he only had it in his overcoat. He didn't even have it secure in a holster. He just had it in a pocket in that overcoat he never took off. and showed him where it was.
Right. He was flashing that gun everywhere.
Yeah, flashing like, look at this. See what'll happen to you? Punk. Push him around, calling him punk. You know, you cannot get away with that with inmates or arrestees in this day. You just cannot. And the waitress, that was not.
It was especially dark.
She just bumped her head. I thought she got shot too. Linda Day George. I was like, ooh, she's dead.
Shoots a stewardess.
She's bumped her head. She must have just tripped and fall.
Or flight attendant.
No, she wasn't the stewardess. She wasn't a stewardess. She was sitting back in that cabin with the stewardess like she owned the damn plane, but she was a nurse.
The rest of the movie, they're like, oh my God, she's not going to live.
Exactly.
She needs a doctor.
Susan,
she bumped her head.
Susan
That's it.
Was a nurse, but she's just sitting around yapping with the stewardesses like she was one of them. Went in the back kitchen, is like making herself coffee. Nobody's ever allowed to do that.
Walking into the cabin. Yeah. That's what you could do back then.
Yeah, they're just la 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 la, you know. And
he also shot the hydraulic system.
And Pete, the captain, David Janssen, comes out and gets shot in the leg.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And he
So now we're in trouble.
Now we're in Molly. You in danger, girl. This is not good. This is where the Mayday at 40,000 feet begins.
Yes. They don't say Mayday. I was like, come on, someone say it.
The control tower says they get a Mayday signal. And then they do say, you know, Don Meredith, who of course who did the, he was like the real misogynistic, what was he, the engineer? Remember when he did, okay, so you had two, so Jane Powell played the wife, Kitty Douglas, of Pete Douglas, played by David Janssen, who had the exploratory surgery for the tumor in her breast. She did
I'm not laughing about that.
The Polydent commercials. Remember she did the denture cleaner commercial? She did that. Yeah. And Don Meredith used to do the Lipton tea commercials.
Yes, I remember that.
Yes, so.
And it's funny you bring that up, John. It's funny you bring that up.
Okay.
Do you remember, do you know Graham Beckel from All My Children and many other shows? Graham Beckel.
I might know if I look it up. I don't know.
Well, he did the commercials for Transcom Airlines in 1976.
Did he really?
He advertised that they had the in-flight chili or nachos with melted cheese, and he did commercials, and they involved him enjoying a drink on a flight back home to Erie, PA. He had been to the Transcom High School Cafeteria Equipment Convention in Michigan, where he almost sliced his finger off using a Spam slicing mechanism. And he would hold his rum and Coke up to the camera and say, Transcom Airlines, official airlines of the bicentennial.
Let me take
and the
a
kid
look
next
at
to him would have a pet rock, and it would be painted red, white, and blue.
Well, let me check. Let me check his filmography here. The Paper Chase, Happy as the Grass Was Green, Chud, True Believer, Welcome Home, Roxy Carmichael. Oh, here we go. Yes, I see that. Yes, there it is, right there. There's the ad.
So it's hard to fly the plane with no hydraulics. I guess we're
learning this. We're learning this because they're going to have to operate the landing gear manually. Mm-hmm. And then there's like some issue, like the green light doesn't come on the dashboard. Like, well, maybe it's just a problem with the light. He goes, it felt like I locked it. So, ooh, yes.
That's what she said.
That's what she said.
That's what they were saying. The whole movie. Yeah. Those were the jokes of the whole movie.
Yeah.
And then it's Kitty. Kitty was Pete's wife, right? Mm-hmm. She comes out of surgery. They put her right in front of a TV, and on the TV comes this flight's in trouble. There's been a shooting, and she goes, "That's my husband's flight." Oh my God! And he's like, "Nurse, subdue her." She gets the
syringe out. First they say, "No, I gotta find this out." Yeah. And did you notice?
Needs a shot right away.
Kitty's makeup is flawless throughout. Like she's in surgery and her makeup is flawless. She's in the hospital room recovering. Her makeup is flawless. It's just like because Jane Powell wasn't getting on camera without flawless makeup, I guess.
No.
And then like they have a press conference and like the head pilot or whoever he's supposed to be, he's like, okay, guys, off the record. Basically what it was like, okay, guys, off the record, this flight is screwed. They're all going to die. I mean, he didn't quite put it that way.
Right.
And then so the other guy says, the other guy's like, are you sure you should have said that to him? He's like, hey, look, you be honest with these guys. That way, basically what you're saying was that way, well, like when the plane does crash in a fiery ball, they'll go easier on them. So the severe snowstorm is like, can we land in Denver? Can we land in, I don't know, Dubuque? I can't remember now. And, the only thing they can,
he's asking for more drinks.
The only thing they can, well, first he doesn't own up to the fact that he's a doctor, although the nurse, Susan, did recognize him. But see, she's unconscious from getting shot, so she can't say anything. And so finally he like owns. So Don Meredith is trying to tape like bandages onto Susan's wound, and he drops the medical adhesive tape, and it rolls under the doctor's seat. And when he goes to pick it up, he sees the the doctors. What do they call that? The Hippocratic.
Yes.
I think it's the staff of the two serpents
right next to the extra bottle of scotch.
And so finally he does have to help him, and they can't land anywhere, so they have to go to Chicago, which is 3 hours away, and the doctor's really worried because they could both bleed out.
But the girl that knocked her head, was she still unconscious?
No, that was Linda Day George, Kathy. No, she was fighting right to the end. So
it's at some point, I might have dozed off, but
really?
The flight attendant was like, we can't get her off the airplane. She'll be in the way. She's dead weight. She's almost dead. And Ray Milland's character's like, I'm getting you off this plane with me. You remember this?
Yeah, well,
she was like unconscious on the floor. He's like, we don't want her blocking the exits.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there.
I'm getting her off.
I don't know. Maybe like halfway through filming, Linda Day George wouldn't come out of her trailer one day. She was throwing a fit.
No, it's just funny that we never know his plan.
We never know why. We don't know what happened in California. We don't know why he's getting sued for malpractice. We have no clue.
Drunk.
All we're certain for sure, Tim, is that there is Mayday at 40,000 feet. That's all we're certain of. There is Mayday at 40,000 feet. That's all we know.
I think he was going to cut her up and put her in his medical bag. That's what he's thinking.
Well, you must have dozed off during the scene where they had to throw Roger Crawford's body out. They had to open the door and talk about dead weight.
Did they?
Oh, you missed that. You must have dozed off. Okay. Because you never see Roger Crawford's body again. And they never wrote a scene for Ray Milland and Brock. Maybe they hated each other from the 40s. Maybe they were both vying for the affections of a certain temptress, a saucy vixen named Miss Jo Van Fleet,
possibly,
who wound up playing the Dragon Lady in Satan's School for Girls, and there's just bad blood between them ever since. And they're like, I will not do a scene with that man. No, they never had a scene together. Yes. Wouldn't you think if you had two Academy Award winning actors in this piece of crap television movie that you would at least write a scene together for him? I mean,
yeah.
Yeah.
But this movie had you wouldn't even know it's a bicentennial. You wouldn't know. Oh, these characters. They didn't
have the seats upholstered in the fife and drum corps.
No.
You laugh. My mother bought that couch in 1975, 1976.
Oh, does she still have it?
No. No. And we painted our room. She painted my bedroom, mine and my brother Chris's bedroom, George Washington blue. Suddenly in the bicentennial year, there was this color called...
I remember.
George Washington blue.
Not slave owner George Washington off blue, but George Washington blue. I'm sorry. I shouldn't bring that up. Why am I bringing up American history?
He is the father of our country. Watch it.
We're losing our Florida listeners.
We are losing right and left.
So that's basically they have a tense landing. Do you want to go into it?
Not really. No, there's like crosswinds, and like he's going. They're hitting the runway at 100 knots, and then it's like 90 knots, and like Don Meredith is counting down by tens, and finally.
And I was thinking, like, if I knew how many knots was dangerous, I might be worried, but I don't know.
I might too.
What the right number of knots are.
All I know is that there is Mayday at 40,000 feet. I don't know what happens on the ground. You didn't explain that to me. Yeah. So basically, long story short, Pete gets treated. He's fine. Susan, the nurse, she's going to be fine, and they're all going to live happily ever. Oh, and Don Meredith and Kathy. The Linda Day George wind up kind of walking off into the sunset together, and there's just a tease that they are going to be winding up together.
But my favorite scene is the one flight attendant who's like, "I can't take it, and I'm out of here. I'm not doing this.
I quit. I said I quit." But you know what? You can't blame her because she was like a trainee. She was a trainee, and she's just like, she's like,
I can take all the sexist comments from the pilots, but this is too much.
No, seriously. No, seriously. I mean, like, your first day is this disaster. No, you're like, no, I don't think this is for me. I don't blame her. I don't blame her at all. So that was Mayday.
I'm glad this film gave us conversation, but I might have liked summer camp a little better, John. I don't know.
It wasn't. I will admit. Okay, I will agree with this. Mayday at 40,000 feet was no summer camp. You are absolutely right.
You know what popped up on YouTube as soon as it ended was a Mr. Bean sketch.
Really? Oh.
I was like, I can wash my brain out with this.
I love Mr. Bean. I love Rowan Atkinson. I just love him. He's awesome.
It was an episode, did you see this one, where he had to be a doctor while he was drunk because he had accidentally been to a picnic and he drank like a whole bottle of scotch by accident.
Oh, no.
So he ends up in the hospital. And it's a funny bit where he needs his scalpel, but he has his plastic knife from the picnic, and he doesn't want to cut him open, so he's got the little packet of ketchup, and he just puts the ketchup on the patient, and he pretends to pull olives out of the body. And it's a great episode of Mr. Bean. I don't know if you've seen it.
I don't recall that. It's just, that's hilarious. I love Mr. Bean.
And then he found some pet rubbish, because that's what pet rocks were called in pet rubbish.
Pet rubbish. Okay, so sun cream, pet rubbish. What else have we learned?
You hear that, Dirk?
Keep
friend of the show, Dirk.
Keep Viv away from the Coke. We learned a lot today, Tim. We have learned a lot today.
We've talked a lot. I don't know what I can cut out. Because it's quiz time.
I'll call it
the Bumko
SETI Q&A.
Brain twister.
Answering quizzes.
Theme song. Do you like quizzes, John?
I do love quizzes. I'll call it SETI Q&A.
Brain twister. The Bumko. I love quizzes. The Bumko.
I'll call it theme song. No. Quiz time.
So you know what the first question is? Do you have anything ready, or you want to hear mine?
Go ahead. You go first.
Okay. So who would fart in a crowded elevator intentionally? Probably Greco. He's the obvious one.
Mm-hmm. Although,
because he was the criminal.
Right. I was thinking the same thing. However,
you go ahead. Tell me yours.
Had Broderick Crawford had a third bowl of chili.
Right, that's right. And the baby.
Well, you can't blame the baby, though. You can't. Yeah, you can't hold the baby, to the standards of Broderick Crawford.
The pilot that was going to get together with his girlfriend, what was his name? Steve?
Oh, Stan.
I could tell by looking in his eye. He does it a lot. He does it.
He does, but he doesn't. Yeah, but he keeps it like silent. Like he doesn't actually like. Mm-hmm. It's like just real. Like I think we used to call it silent but violent. Like you don't hear it, but boy, when it hits your nostrils, look out.
That's a new one.
Silent but violent.
There's another podcast title: Silent but Violent.
Silent but violent. Vivian
Vance. Have a podcast today.
Vivian Vance was really bad about that too.
Yes. She rode the elevator all day. People be going home and they're like, "Hey, you're still in the elevator. What's going on?
What's going on?
We didn't invite you here."
People are like, "No, the door is open. There's Viv just coked out of her mind." They're like, "No, we'll take the stairs. Viv. You have a great weekend."
So who would have a podcast? I guess that baby would grow up and have a podcast called Transcom Airlines and its subsidiaries, such as Transcom Roller Skates, Transcom Mini Golf, Transcom video games such as Pacman, and Transcom toys such as Pet Stones. He or she would, I say he, I don't know what the baby was, he or she would pretend to remember being on that flight and how scary it was. And he would become a Transcom fanatic.
And then ask for donations and
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I like that. I do like that.
Okay.
I'm going to go with, gosh, who would I go with? This is a tough one for me because any of them could have done it. Any of them could
I would
have
say Susan and Steve's child, but they got divorced in a month.
Yeah, that didn't work out. They didn't even make it to the altar. Like the second night they spent together, they're like, "Ooh, no, I don't think this is going to work out." That's why
he regained his fear of putting quarters in the vibrating bed, and she's like,
"Yeah." And there was a sequel. There was a planned sequel called Mayday at 41,000 feet, and it never got made. Okay, so we'll go with the baby with the podcast. Okay.
So, which characters would have a spin-off show? I wrote the one that we just trashed. His name was Burkhart, I think. Last name Burkhart and Susan. Burkhart and Susan.
Yes.
I think but she was the one shot or the one that bumped her head.
No, she was the one that was shot. You really didn't pay very close attention to this movie.
She goes into surgery. Yeah, one of those ladies got shot.
You did not.
I'm just checking out their air brakes.
Yeah, there weren't too many characters.
Check out her air brakes.
Like summer camp, there were too many characters. But of course, it was an all-star cast.
But she went into surgery. She went into a coma, and when she woke up, she had the power to see in the future. That's what I think happened.
Ooh.
And she saw that pet rocks were just a fad for 1 year, so she got into the new fad, Pacman fever. She became a Pacman champion, just like the wife of the owner of summer camp.
She pushed her around in the wheelchair to the Pacman tournaments.
Yeah. Well, because she was shot, she was also in a wheelchair. They were wheelchair rivals.
Oh, I see. So they're like circling each other.
Yes. But the lady from summer camp beat her because she became the champion, and and this lady could also, because she could see the future, she started a Cabbage Patch Kid daycare. Mm-hmm. So she made a lot of money.
She kind of see her money, she would make lots of money in small amounts of time because then she'd have to. Good thing she could see the future. Yeah.
But she did marry Burkhart, but they did drift apart because of her fame. He would try to play Pac-Man. He would be at the bar. But because of his fear of quarters, he couldn't get quarters into the Pacman game.
You might be a Canadian.
He would ask kids to do it for him, but they would steal his quarters and run away and call him Stinky Pants because he farted in the elevator so much as a pilot that it just happened all the time. He couldn't stop farting.
Couldn't do it.
All right. Killer fart joke. That's why we get lots of listeners.
And, of course, Maude Finley would defeat everybody in this film. However, had Maude Finley been the air marshal, there would have never been Mayday at 40,000 feet. Because Maude Finley would have just clocked Greco and knocked him out. Punk.
Yes.
Punk.
But could she land the plane?
Oh, Maude Finley could do anything. Maude Finley she would have gotten out of the plane, crawled on the underbelly, made sure that the landing gear was locked, climbed back up into the plane and said, "Okay, now let me land this sucker." It would have been an entirely different movie if B. Arthur had done it.
It would have been great. Her and Vivian Vance on this plane, that'd been great.
Yeah.
Every time a pilot went to the bathroom and come back, he'd be like, "Vivian, what are you doing in my seat? Why are you flying the plane?"
Somebody's got to keep the coke from Viv. And B. Arthur was just the person to do it. That's how B. Arthur got her start in Hollywood. That's how she got her start in Hollywood. It was her job to keep. She got a job with Desilu. It was her job to keep the coke away from Viv. And then somebody said, "Hey, can you act?" And she's like, "Well, I guess so." And the rest, as they say, is history.
Okay. Lawsuit incoming.
Well, it's coming.
So that's the end of the show.
That's it.
And I'm not going to announce a movie because I think we have a big star as our guest next week.
A big this
We've
is.
tried several
like,
times.
Yes.
Several times, but
Yes.
I think now I've convinced, put the right food in the green room.
Yes.
Everything is in order.
Yes.
Right, clean the green room. It's been a mess since George O'Connor, friend of the show, New York Times bestseller.
New York Times
made a
bestselling
mess.
author George O'Connor. And
That
friends-
was
and
that
friends
was
of
in
the
this
show.
guest contract. Clean up the mess George O'Connor made.
Mm-hmm. But as long as, although, hopefully, because I know she is like, she was on the cusp of getting the title role in the Vivian Vance story. So hopefully,
Oh, come on, no.
hopefully she can squeeze this in.
Okay.
So how do people get up with us,
So
Tim?
email us at SETIBIMCO with the E at Gmail. You can email us if you want to maybe be on this show. Tell us part of your story. Don't tell us all about your horrendous high school story. Today was all about high school because it... Like the what? Oh, the moth.
It's like the Moth Radio Hour. You just
Yeah.
No, you just leave 2 minutes. You just leave 2 minutes on the voicemail. They don't want to hear the whole story either.
We're at SETI_BIMCO at Instagram and SETIBIM on Twitter.
Unless you're in the UK, and it's SETI_BIMCO.
Yes, SETI_.
While you're putting on sun cream and
We're sorry, Dirk.
sorry,
But he mentioned me. He gave us a shout out because today, when you hear the episode, he reads my letter, so he gives the show a shout out.
Oh, okay. Well, that was nice of him.
So we will shout out the movie mixtape with Dirk and Marcy.
Dirk and Marcy, we love Marcy.
Love that show.
We should have
They watched
Marcy
the
back.
animated Lord of the Rings. Oh, sorry. Talk
You know, I've no, you're not talking over me. I vaguely remember that. I do vaguely remember. Although it wasn't. No, maybe. Or was there an animated?
Yeah, it was all
Hobbit?
rotoscoped.
Yes,
There was a Hobbit
I
on
do.
TV. It's a big, complicated story. I'll tell you all about it next week, John.
Oh, please do. Please do.
Hobbit was on TV. There was a movie made by different people. Vivian Vance showed up.
Man showed up, coked up. They had to stop
the
production for a
rotoscoping.
week.
Like, could you get out of the scene? We didn't invite you here.
Who didn't keep them away from the coke?
All right, John. I'll talk to you next
All
week.
right, Tim. You have a great week. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
SETI BIMCO is a podcast by Tim Hamilton and John Kelly. Produced by Miss Lee. Music by Tim Hamilton. This has been a Pity Party Line production.
Party line, it's a party line.